Welcome to the Full Coverage Podcast. I'm Tyler Christensen. On behalf of the Motor Carrier Insurance Education Foundation, we want to welcome you. It's been a while since we've been able to post, and we're excited to be back and live as we lead up to the Western Conference here in a few months. So today I'd like to welcome Brent Thunstrom. Welcome. If you'd like to introduce yourself and your organization, then we'll get started.
Sounds good. Thank you for having me. So my name is Brent Thunstrom. I'm president of the Insurance Store. We're a countrywide truck agency specialized in truck. Been specializing in truck for, I think, since 1973. So last year we just celebrated our 50th anniversary. My wife and I bought the organization from her parents. So it was founded by Norman and Cheryl Stores. Tiffany is the CEO, and I'm the president. We have 8 offices currently, expanding to 10 here shortly. And yeah, that's what we do. And then myself, been working for the organization just over 20 years, 20-something years.
Perfect. And how many kids do you both have?
So we have 4 kids, kind of all separated by 4 to 5 years. My oldest, Kalia, she's a senior in college at BYU. She plays volleyball up there. And then my next is a senior in high school. She's just committed to play volleyball at St. Mary's, Division I volleyball. And then my son, Crew, is with me here in Las Vegas right now. He's 12, plays basketball, and my youngest is into horses and wants to play volleyball as well. Her name's Gia.
Very cool. I asked that, with it being a family business, any interest from the kids yet in joining the insurance world?
Many of them. My son, we joke is, I think it was kindergarten or first grade. They said, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And most kids say astronauts and police officers. My son said he wants to be an insurance agent. So
there you go. Well, he'll be one of the first that had any intentions of going into the industry, where the rest of us just fell into it. So. Well, perfect. Well, hey, we appreciate you being on here today. We love having these conversations. We love showcasing MCIF and talking about how it's made an impact in all of our lives, certainly from an educational perspective. But how long have you actually been part of MCIF?
We just found MCIF a couple years ago, probably. Was originally introduced by Pete Matthews at IAT. I think he was the first one that said anything to me. And then, over a series of a few months, kept hearing the name from a few different people, and finally dug into it, talked to John Love, met him at my first West conference for MCIF. I want to say it's probably been 18 months, something like that. So not very long, but we kind of dove into it, both feet, and we've been pretty excited about the potential and what we see we can do for our own organization as far as the education goes.
Awesome. So does anybody within TIS have their TRS designation yet?
Yeah, we have. There's probably 4 or 5 that have completed it, and we have probably another 4 or 5 working on it right now. So, but we've also started using kind of the education as the basis for all training in the office and such. And so it's been great for us.
It's great. Yeah, we've heard that from many members. They make the TRS and bring it in-house and make it part of their orientation program. So that's fantastic. So those that obtain their designation, did they attend in-person sessions, or did they actually go through the online Trucking U? Because there's both platforms.
Yeah, so they did the Trucking U, all of them. I know that for sure, that piece of it. I think we've maybe had one do in person out of our Texas office, but I think everybody else has been virtually.
Awesome.
I'm still working on mine.
Nice to have both.
I've been working on it for like 2 years. I'm almost done.
There you go. Well, you got 6 months, so
there you go.
All right. Well, with being domiciled in California, there's always lots happening in the world of California when it comes to trucks. So I want to focus on a few of those questions first. So given the stringent regulatory environment, California's always been known as a high frequency environment, high operating costs, high living costs. So, as an agent, what are you seeing with your insureds, and what are they experiencing right now, and how are they surviving?
Higher prices. So hardened market, obviously. We have fewer and fewer options every year that passes. We've never seen anything like this. It's been, I don't know, I can't remember the conference I was at, but just quarter after quarter after quarter after of increases. And so there's a lot of stress on the trucker from a especially with freight prices down. So and it's tough on the agent. A lot of insurers are shopping around looking for alternative because frankly they just can't afford what's being offered in a lot of cases, especially if there's any hair on the account. So we're seeing the hardest market we've seen in my experience, and it just continues to get harder and harder. So I think ultimately we're not going to see any change in it until something breaks. We have the California DOI that's finally starting to approve some rate increases, and I think that from a cost perspective for the insurance companies will finally maybe bring some markets back in and create some competition. But some really large carriers, they're moving into the E&S market and creating E&S product for California. And you have others that are, I think, working more on the technology and the data side, trying to figure out how to price accordingly.
So with you saying that, that there's markets that are wanting to move into the E&S space, are you feeling right now that capacity is still limited? Or you are seeing new entrants, or they're just working on it?
They're working on it, been working on it for a year and a half, 2 years. So I think it seems like it's starting to open up a little bit. There's hints of it opening, but it's still got a long way to go to be. And I think something we've been working with a lot, our agency. So we really dove in as well with another organization called ICSA, stands for Independent Carrier Safety Association. They're a partner of ours, and we focus primarily on the non-fleet space. So I'd say 80% of our clients are in the 1 to 25 unit accounts. And ICSA's organization, their focus is on fleet safety for the owner operator. So they've helped us put thousands of cameras into trucks, owner operator, smaller fleets. And they also they're pushing hair follicle drug testing, which they don't call hair follicle anymore. Sorry, it's hair testing. And so they're focused on the data, but they're using big fleet data and information to try and increase the safety of owner operators. Will ultimately reduce claims and ultimately drive down costs. That's the only thing I can see that actually might help turn this market. I think we do nothing. We're just going to continue to see increases from all these, nuclear verdicts, and the frequency, like you said, is just through the roof.
Good. Well, good. Well, for the viewers, for the agents, for the insureds, for the carriers in California, for Brent, there's hope. So we're seeing change, which is good. It's needed. So fantastic. Appreciate your insights. So excluding California, because we know there's a lot of work to be done there in California, if you could change one thing right now about the entire trucking insurance world, what would it be?
Oh, there's so much. I know. I think one of the biggest challenges that's just ripe for fixing would be loss runs. I think the system's broken. Just obtaining loss runs. There's just no freedom of choice for the insurer. There's so many agencies and carriers that don't send them to the agents in a timely fashion. It's just a pain, absolute pain. So I'd like to see all the commercial carriers adopt commercial clue. I think that'd be the fastest, easiest way. I think there's only 40% adoption in trucking right now, and so that would fix a lot of this. I think if that were to happen. But if not, I think it's ripe for the taking for someone to standardize or use AI to scan in and have standardized loss history. Same thing with MVRs. I think those should be standardized. Anyway, I could go on for days about what could be improved in our industry, but it's getting there. There's a lot of technology coming that we've adopted some pieces, spent a lot of money on technology the last few years, and it's getting really good.
No, I mean, I think that's fair. From wearing my previous carrier hat, wearing an MGA hat, there is a lot of inconsistency with loss runs. There's inconsistencies on how loss runs are digested. When insurers are looking at frequency and they're looking at claim counts on a loss run, is the carrier reporting losses that were not at fault, no pay, we're just simply reported, just to be reported, and so is that inflating frequency counts?
Yeah, inconsistency on what data is reported, even missing information related to the claim. There's oftentimes they won't tell you which driver's involved, or so. And there's a lot of development that comes from these things from carriers not really reserving enough as well.
Right. Oh, you're in California, so surely you're seeing this. But as we continuously talk, not just as an industry, but it's been big within MCIF about the future of autonomous trucks and what impact that's going to have on the industry. What are you seeing right now? Are carriers accepting them? With the inflated values, how is that being handled? And have you had the opportunity to insure these type of vehicles?
Which type of trucks was that?
Electronic vehicles. So these autonomous, electronic, specifically EVs, that are the higher valued.
Yeah, we just started getting requests for some really high value vehicles. I think we had a request last month for something in the range of 350, something like that, 400,000, something like that. We were able to get that, approved with management. So they didn't hesitate to do it. It was with a pretty large carrier. But I think that's going to be an issue, right? Because it comes down to as well affordability, right? When you have FISDAM rates anywhere between 3 and 6%, lower in some cases, but on average, let's say 3 to 6%, you're looking at some pretty sizable costs. And if the frequency continues the way it is, you're looking at the cost to repair these things just through the roof. So I am hopeful. There's this new startup we're advising called GenLogs, which is they're developing a nationwide network of cameras, and they have a tool called an asset locator, which is pretty cool. And so we have one of the largest truck carriers in the country that we work closely with. They were actually able to recover a lot of trucks. So I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but I think originally they sent over a list of close to like 600 internally missing vehicles. I think within just a matter of a few hundred days, they were able to find like over 100 trailers, I think they were. And the last correspondence that I had seen was, I think they had close to 60 missing or stolen assets, and I think they'd recovered found, tracked down. It was about 10% of them, something like that. So pretty sizable number, and that's with the camera network only, I think 1.7 developed. So I could see that being a real impact in our future, and there's some really cool, I think, future for them with as far as using that data for underwriting risks and helping determine which risks are the best.
Yeah, I know some carriers out there already that actually have forms within their policy that speak to the tracking devices and how coverage will respond in the event that it's absent. That's a condition of some of these terms and conditions these days. And then going back to the EVs, what we're seeing, and it's a risk, is undervaluing. To your point, rates are high. It's expensive. A lot of physical damage policies have a co-insurance clause, and so undervaluing these EV vehicles, coming in at $250 because the carrier will only accept $250 as a max valuation, yet really worth $450. Education is huge, as this comes out, and understanding what you've got and where you're placing it, so that we're not putting these insureds, in a predicament later down the road. Certainly coming. We're seeing it more and more, definitely on the West Coast, but it's coming for sure.
Yeah, one of the things we covered in the MCIF meeting yesterday, or the continuing education seminar, was a lot of the thieves are getting smart, figuring out how to disable these tracking devices and such. The nice part about the camera network is that you really, unless you figured out how to tamper with it, I don't know how you would, but and it's in real time. It's using AI to track these vehicle movements. From the time the image is captured, it's live within the database within 2 minutes. There's actually, I think, a couple stories of trucks actually being intercepted and authorities being dispatched in real time.
Oh,
so pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, that really is. So moving on to the next question, given your experience in the industry, what's one piece of advice that you would give a new trucking company that's currently looking for insurance, in an environment of increased rates and new venture pricing being sky high?
There's no way to hide anymore. So you got to do it right. You got to have all the right safety measures and kind of process and procedure in place. because reinventing yourself the way that these carriers have been over the last, multiple decades, where they just pop up under a new name, that with the technology and everything that we have now, it's near impossible to do it anymore. So do it right, and if you want to be successful in the industry, if you do that, there's the sky's the limit, right? But you have to do it right. So pricing will be difficult the first 2-3 years as far as the insurance side of things, until you develop some history. But as you get these safety scores and they look good and your loss history looks good, that price will come down year after year, and eventually you can get to an affordability, an area of affordability.
Excellent answer. And for TIS, how does your team counsel? If you're working with a new venture, how are you going through those check balances while they're only asking for insurance? Is your team serving as counsel to these guys to walk them through, hey, we see this, are you doing this, etc.?
Yeah, I think that's the big advantage, right, of working with a retail brokerage, right, is the fact that they can be not only an agent that helps you find, but they can also be a mentor if they're doing it right. So that's part of the reason we've jumped into MCIF, right, is helping our insurance agents become more educated on what these truckers need to do, what underwriters are looking for, how they look at risks, and really become an advocate for the insured. So yeah, I think we need more of that in our industry, and I think it will take our industry to a better place. I hope more and more agencies get their agents, educated by MCIF.
Yeah, me too. The final question for today, as a retail producer, you've seen it, this is a good example of, how you counsel your insureds, but if you could switch places with a trucker for a day, what is it exactly that you want to experience? We assume, as insurance professionals, what they're experiencing, what they're going through, but given the current environment, if you could switch roles for 24 hours, what specifically would you want to experience?
It's a tough one. I think I'd like to drive one of those new Tesla trucks. I feel like if you're going to have a view, although you couldn't have anybody with you, right? So I don't know if there's passenger seats on that thing or not. Do you know that or not?
Oh, no, I don't.
I just think the views would be amazing, kind of driving through some of the scenic parts of the country. What I'm hauling probably wouldn't matter. I wouldn't care about that, but I think, having some music on and being able to see the country would be the best part. I think it would be difficult lifestyle long term, be away from family and friends. But overall, I think it'd be pretty interesting to do for a few months.
Agree. I have a friend actually been in the insurance industry for many, many years, but on the MGA side, and decided one day that he just wanted to see the country and wanted to put himself in the life of a trucker. So spent 6 years traveling and on the road, and now he's returned to the desk, and we've had the opportunity for him to join our organization, and he's brought a lot of influence to our team, to be able to share experiences and tips and tricks is not something you'd think of sitting behind an underwriting desk. So it's been extremely valuable and a neat experience and story for him to share within our organization.
Yeah, it'd be a lot easier to relate with the truckers and understand what exactly they're going through. We had some employees that were either married to truckers and stuff, and they just really had a better understanding, could really talk with these insureds in a more effective manner.
I agree. So I know you're fairly newish to MCIF, but you mentioned the West Conference. Did you attend the Orlando conference, May?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we took a small group out there to the Orlando conference. It's nice as well. So we were part of that new facility. I'm actually on the events committee. I can't remember what they call it, but was part of the planning of the Orlando conference, which was fun to see the back end of things and how that works, how it all comes together. So like I said, we've jumped all in with MCIF. We're excited to be part of the organization, contribute, help bring some sponsors, and hope we can do more for it as well. But yeah, I'm sorry.
Well, appreciate your assistance. It does. So what I wanted to ask is, you've seen them both now, and they both are great. This is the first year at the new Orlando facility, which was fantastic. So kudos to you, the events team. But will you be attending the upcoming West Conference, given you've already attended Orlando in May?
Yeah, we'll take a small group again. I think we'll probably have representation there at most of these conferences from what I see. Great opportunity for networking, just seeing the people that you need to see, so you can get a lot of meetings in, as well as also learn. You know, they're hitting on some pretty complicated topics, stuff that you don't get to talk about a lot. I mean, so it's been great.
Awesome, fantastic. Well, we're looking forward to seeing your team there. We certainly appreciate your time and participation in our podcast. But for the viewers, we'll provide a link here in the podcast link for the upcoming conference. If you're not a member, certainly view our website to become a member. If you're already a member and you haven't signed up yet, do it now, because registration is live, and we're ready to rock and roll in October. So thanks for attending. Thanks for the viewers. You know, we are rebranded from Truck Talk to full coverage, and we're excited to rock it off here in the middle of 2024. So thanks for attending. I'm Tyler Christensen on behalf of the NCIF Foundation. Thanks for viewing.
Thanks, Tyler. Appreciate your time.